Hey guys, today we are going to be talking about SURRATT's brand new hologram eyeshadows. And he's come out with 6 colors of these eyeshadows and 2 bases. So we're going to be doing swatches. I'm going to be doing a demo of this eye look. I created this eye look. It's probably not one you're going to want to wear out, but I try to use as many colors as possible. So I have 4 different colors on my eyelids. Anyway, we're going to be getting into that demo later on, but let's go ahead and get into the particulars. Beautylish was kind enough in sending me these eyeshadows. I was so excited to get these. You guys know what a huge fan I am of SURRATT's. I was all ready to purchase them. So a huge thank you to Beautylish for sending these over. So we have 6 colors of these hologram eyeshadows, and these eyeshadows come housed in the typical SURRATT eyeshadow packaging. It has this like plastic kind of like slide cover that slides up and down. So you can leave these shadows as is, or you can buy the SURRATT compacts. They come in 2 sizes. This one, the larger one, can hold like 6 of these. Or you can get the smaller size, which can house 4 of these. So the way these work is that you just peel the sticker off and then you stick it into the compact. I personally am not the biggest fan of this system. I love the way the compact looks. I have a bunch of his artistic blushes, and so I do house these in this SURRATT compact. But as for the eyeshadows, what I've done is I've just purchased those like magnets and I stuck it onto the back, and then I put it into like a big palette. And that way I just feel like I can kind of rearrange them or take them out and put them into a smaller palette much more easily than if they were like stuck in this palette. But I do think these palettes are very sleek. And if you're not someone like myself who's going to be rearranging these and like, you know, kind of constantly taking them in and out, then you'll probably be fine with these. And they do have pinholes in the back for you to just kind of like pop it out. And with these 6 hologram shadows, SURRATT has also come out with 2 cream eyeshadows that work as bases. So one is dark matter and one is light matter. So the dark matter and the light matter are $34 each, and then each of these hologram eyeshadows are $30 each. So I have 5 out of the 6 colors here. So the way these hologram eyeshadows work, you can use them alone. I think they just impart a really nice kind of like light glittery effect or veil over your lids. You can put it over the light matter base, or you can put it over the dark matter base. And when you put it over the dark matter base, like a color changing effect happens. So why don't I go ahead and just show you the swatches so you can see. And what I've done is I have swatched each color alone, and then I've swatched it over the light matter, and then I've swatched it over the dark matter. So first up we have Celestial, and Celestial is one that has a yellow tone to it. And again, you'll see it swatched alone on the left, over light matter in the middle, and then over dark matter on the right. Next we have Aurora, and Aurora has a green tone to it. And again, we have it alone on the left, over light matter in the center, and over dark matter on the right. And next we have Nebula, and Nebula has a blue tone to it. And Nebula here is swatched alone on the left, over light matter in the center, and over dark matter on the right. And then we have Ultraviolet, and again, swatched alone on the left, over light matter in the center, over dark matter on the right. And this has a purpley tone to it. And finally, we have Interstellar. And this is swatched alone on the left, over light matter in the center, and over dark matter on the right. And this one has a really beautiful silvery tone to it. So I've been playing with these shadows for quite some time now. Beautylish was actually kind enough in sending these to me like right when they launched about a week or so ago at this point. And so I've been playing around with them and trying to figure out like how best to use them. I've been following SURRATT, well, I've been following SURRATT on Instagram for a long time, but I was really kind of like tuned in to see how, you know, he was going to work the hologram eyeshadows. Anyway, so since I've been playing with them, there are a few things I do want to mention. As for the dark matter and the light matter bases, they are a cream base for sure. They're not terribly creamy. You know, when you put your finger in, it doesn't feel like a cream blush or a typical cream eyeshadow. They're a little bit drier than that, but they definitely feel like a cream. and they definitely behave like a cream. So I was using my Worker 2 brush from Sonia G and putting it on, and I could feel that there's like a little bit of a drag, like a little bit of a tack there. To the touch, once I got it kind of laid down over my lid, to the touch, it doesn't feel that tacky. It's not like a typical eye primer in that way, but when you apply it, you'll definitely feel like the creaminess to it. The other thing I want to note is I do think the dark matter really transforms the shades. You guys probably saw that in the swatches. As for the light matter, I don't really think it did much in terms of color shifting or making the colors pop anymore. But I do think that this works, well, both of these actually, the dark matter as well, but both of these work really nicely as an eye primer. And this is really nice because it has coverage. So this is nice if you're looking for something that's going to kind of cancel out any sort of discoloration or veining that you may have on the eyes. So for me, this is kind of like a nice like concealer slash eye primer. Now, the only issue I have personally, and this is a personal issue with this light matter, is in the ingredients. Let me find the box. The third ingredient is kaolin, and I'm just going to hold up the light matter ingredients here if you're interested. The third ingredient is kaolin, and that is a clay. It is used in a lot of makeup and skincare. It's not a bad ingredient at all. I just cannot use kaolin very often. It's something I can use on my eyes, you know, one day and that's fine. But if I use it day after day, my eczema will come out. Because kaolin's a clay, it's very, very drying. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. But if I did not have like a sensitivity to kaolin, I would definitely use this as an eye primer. It has a really lovely kind of like peachy tone. And the formula for both of these, like I mentioned, there isn't that much tack because this is like a drier kind of cream formula, but it really just gives you a very nice canvas to work with. And I do think it also really helps, even though they're not tacky, it really helps, I've noticed, shadows really adhere to it. So I do want to show you some swatches here that I did because I used the light matter and I thought, I wonder if other shadows will pop on top of the light matter, because sometimes dark colors can be really tricky. Sometimes it just kind of like sucks all the air out of the room kind of a thing. Like it'll just suck all the color down or just really kind of like dampen it. With the SURRATT shadows, again, as you noticed in the swatches, it really made them pop. So I thought, I wonder if it would do that with other shadows. So I swatched this dark matter, and you'll see here, I swatched it with the green shade from the Tom Ford Soleil Illune quad. And I swatched that green color alone, and then I swatched it over the dark matter. And you can see that it doesn't do much for the color. But what I did notice was that the shadow really kind of like adhered to it. It really like applied over that dark matter really, really nicely. Next to that, I have the Natasha Denona Chroma Crystal top coat in the gray brown. So I have that again, like swatched alone, and then I have it swatched over the dark matter. And same thing, I feel like it really just kind of like dampened that color. And then next I have it swatched with the Sisley Lafito Ombre eyeshadows, the new ones that just came out. I decided to try it with the Glow Silver. I don't think it did much for it. So I do think that the dark matter base and these hologram eyeshadows are like the perfect pairing. There's something about these hologram eyeshadows that just work really well with that dark base. It really helps with bringing out the metallic kind of like undertone to it. So I have been having a lot of fun playing with these. I think these are magical. The formula of these shadows, I've already talked about the light and the dark matter, but these hologram shadows, they're very unique. The best way I can describe them really is like a cream to powder formula. But what I love about them, because they are kind of creamy, is that there's zero fallout. For an eyeshadow that has such a strong metallic glittery effect, I thought for sure there was going to be some kind of fallout situation underneath my eyes, but nothing. And I think it's because while these are like a creamy formula, they're on the drier side, but they're not crumbly. So I have not come across shadows like this, like the Hourglass Scattered Lights, like the new Victoria Beckham lid lacquers, is that what she calls them? Her like potted cream shadows. They all have like a really kind of crumbly texture, and if you're not careful, you definitely get quite a bit of fallout. But with these shadows, you get a very similar effect to those without any of the fallout, without any of the fuss and the mess. Like you can operate and work with them like they're a powder shadow, but they behave and like look like a cream shadow. and then there's zero fallout. I don't know. They're just really, really magical. And I feel like the end result that I get is very, very similar to what I want to get from the Pat McGrath Party Shadows. The Pat McGrath, like her special shadows, the 4 on the right in her big mothership palettes, her Blitz Astral Quads that she just came out with, those like really beautiful baked shadows, they give you that kind of like foily look. It's very, very similar to this, but those definitely have a little bit of fallout and you have to be careful working with them. Again, these were just so easy to work with. And you'll see in my demo that once I get the dark matter down, all I do is just basically take a brush and like pat these on, and that's it. It's like this instant glittery, holographic, metallic, super shiny, fun look. So like I mentioned, I have 4 colors on, and again, you'll see it in the demo, but I have the yellow and the green, and then I have the blue and the purple. And they blend well together. Like if you want to play with 2 shades, I brought it down onto my lower lash line because there's no fallout. So I didn't feel like this was going to be like a crumbly kind of mess. And I probably could have exaggerated that a little bit more, but I brought some of the purple down here, some of the green down here. They're just a lot of fun. And I am really blown away by this formula. So anyway, those are my thoughts on these shadows. Let's go ahead and jump into the demo. All right, I'm taking my Sonia G Worker 2 brush. I'm going into the dark matter cream base here, and I just want to put a nice soft layer of this down. I'm going to take my Sonia G Pencil Pro brush and dip that into the dark matter base and just get kind of like in the inner corner there that I couldn't reach with the Worker 2. And just kind of clean it up a little bit. And I'm taking that Pencil Pro brush and I'm going to drag it down to my lower lash line, smoke that out a bit. I'm just taking the Worker 2 brush and I'm just kind of gliding it over where I've placed the black, just to kind of soften the edges a little bit, make sure it's all blended out nicely. I mean, really, really lightly. I feel like the bristles are barely touching my skin. All right, so I think I'm going to be able to squeeze 4 of these shadows over the dark matter just to show you guys all the color differences. So what I'm going to do is use Celestial and Aurora, like the yellow and the green, and I'm going to do it on this eye, my left eye. And then on my right eye, I'm going to combine the Nebula and the Ultraviolet, which is like the blue and the purple, and I'll do that over here on my right eye. So the only color I'm not going to demo for you, but you saw in the swatches, is the Interstellar, which is like the silvery color. I'm going to take my Esom W21 brush. This is like a small flat shader made out of sable hair, and let me do the yellow and green first. So I'm going to start with the yellow shade, which is the Celestial shade. I'm going to grab some with the brush and I'm going to put this in the inner corner to the center of my lid. And I'm basically using like patting motions because I just want to press this color down onto the black base, and I don't want to disturb the black base too much, so I'm not gonna, blend ferociously. So I'm just gonna press like the color down. So there is Nebula. I think this one, I love them all, but I think this one could be one of my favorites because it looks kind of like a white gold. So pretty. Okay, let's move on to the green one, which is Aurora, and let me just wipe off this brush here. And again, Aurora is like the green one. So I'm going to go into Aurora and I'm going to start basically right where I left off with the Celestial. Oh my God, I love this one too. Look at that green. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm just pressing the color onto the dark matter base. And now I'm going to bring it on top of the first color, the Celestial color, a little bit just to kind of blend the two together. Isn't that amazing though? Look at that Aurora, and then there's Celestial. Okay, next what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of the Aurora, the green color, and I'm going to press it onto where I put the dark matter along my lower lash line. So there, I also want to point out that there is zero fallout, absolutely no fallout from these shadows. Just gorgeous. They give you that kind of glittery effect without like the glitter mess. Okay, let's move over to the right eye and we'll use the blue and the purple. So Nebula is the bluish color. I'm going to use that on the, actually I'm going to drop it all over the floor. So I'm going to take Nebula and use that the way I use the Celestial, like on the inner portion of my lid. Look at that, oh my God. I mean, is that not amazing? Let's move on to the purple one, which is ultraviolet. Here's ultraviolet, so doesn't look like much in the pan. I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the outer portion of my lid and then blend it over on top of the Nebula? The Nebula, the blue color. There is Nebula. I hope the light is catching it. It's another just really beautiful purple there. And I'm going to drag that ultraviolet over my, the dark matter that I put under my lash line here. All right, I'm going to finish up the rest of my look off camera and I will be right back. All right, here is my final look and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.